Okay, let's really get into this. So you've probably seen this, maybe experienced it yourself. Businesses invest heavily in these really modern, fast cloud data stacks. Your Snowflakes, BigQuery, Databricks.
Yeah, tools built for serious scale, serious performance.
Exactly. But then there's this friction point, right? A lot of companies are finding their actual data integration process.
Well, it just hasn't caught up. It feels, I don't know, kind of slow, maybe a bit clunky.
And what's really interesting looking at the sources is how that clunkiness directly, undermines the whole point of the investment.
Right.
If you can't actually feed the data into that super fast stack efficiently, get it transformed and ready, you're basically leaving all that potential, that compute power and insight just sitting on the table. Your integration becomes the real bottleneck.
That's the perfect word for it. So that brings us to our focus for this deep dive. A tool that's often positioned right at the center of fixing this. It's called Matillion.
Yeah, and it's presented in the material we reviewed as being like purpose-built for this cloud context. Purpose-built, yeah.
Yeah.
A strategic, scalable way to actually tackle that specific challenge cloud data integration head on.
Right. The way the sources describe it, Matillion is basically there to simplify that messy middle bit, getting data from all sorts of places,
Yeah.
SaaS tools, databases, even flat files.
All the usual suspects.
Exactly. Getting it into your cloud warehouse and then, crucially, transforming it efficiently using the power of that warehouse.
Right.
They really talk up its ability to handle like high volume ingestion and make data genuinely analytics ready.
And the picture these sources paint is pretty clear, isn't it? Matillion acts almost like the conductor for your cloud data orchestra. It does the loading part, sure, but its real strength, according to this material, seems to be doing transformations inside platforms like Snowflake or Redshift.
The ELT pattern, yeah,
Yeah.
push down transformation.
Right. And they highlight its visual interface, less need for complex custom coding, faster pipeline development, and supposedly a clearer way to see and manage these complex data flows, especially when you're dealing with a lot of data.
But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. And what the sources seem to emphasize as Matillion's edge in the modern stack. It's presented as the orchestration layer.
Ah, okay. More than just running individual jobs.
Way more. I mean, the sources talk about its power in, like, sequencing different tasks, handling all the dependencies between them, having solid error recovery, and that centralized view for monitoring and scheduling everything.
Okay, so it's that bigger picture view.
Exactly, that holistic approach to the whole data workflow. That's what apparently turns just moving data around into delivering reliable strategic insights for the business.
So let's translate that. What does this mean for people, working in this space? For, say, enterprise leaders?
Well, the sources definitely frame Matillion as a big accelerator for them. It's positioned not just as another tool, but as a way to, well, potentially slash integration costs.
Yeah.
They mentioned reducing development time from maybe weeks down to just days in some cases.
Weeks to days is pretty significant.
It is, and speeding up that overall time to insight. So instead of these maybe fragile, siloed scripts, you get properly governed, repeatable data pipelines.
Okay, and what about for you, the data professional, the person actually building these things?
For data pros, the material suggests that getting good with Matillion is really about mastering cloud-native data integration itself. It pushes you beyond just, connecting A to B.
Right?
It gets you thinking more strategically about ELT design patterns, how to optimize performance right there in the cloud environment, and how to build data flows that are genuinely resilient.
And there was one interesting little nugget the sources pointed out too, wasn't there? About the skills demand.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. It wasn't just about knowing the technical ins and outs of Matillion, the how-to.
Yeah.
There's apparently a strong demand for people who can pair those technical skills with strategic thinking.
Strategic thinking about workflow design.
Yeah, and about how to actually use these pipelines to deliver real business value. It's that combination that seems valuable.
So tying it all together, the sources really seem to underscore how vital that central integration and transformation piece is, for making the whole modern data stack actually work as intended.
Absolutely. Matillion is sort of presented as a foundational cornerstone for that specific function within the stack.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive then, we've seen how the sources position Matillion. It's that essential orchestrator sitting in your cloud data stack designed to simplify the often complex tasks of integration and transformation, leveraging the cloud's own power.
And it highlights pretty significant potential value. For leaders, it's about faster insights and lower costs. For data professionals, it's about truly mastering cloud integration, sophisticated ELT design.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on, based on what we've unpacked from these sources today. What does it really mean to be Matillion savvy in today's data world? Is it just knowing the buttons and features?
Or is it more?
Yeah, how crucial is it really to blend those hands-on technical skills with that broader strategic view? Designing data flows that don't just work, but actually deliver significant impact, something definitely worth thinking about.